I turned Line Rider into an action game. Did anybody want this? No. Is it tasteful? Not really. But is it fun? Yes. If it has nothing else going for it, it is at least fun to play. The game starts out like classic Line Rider, with you drawing a hilly level to sled down, but then as soon as you press play, it turns into a chaotic shooter. You have enemies, new game modes, a bunch of cool weapons, and of course, lots of explosions. The US is famous for its Hollywood action movies and violent shooter games, and for better or more than likely worse, I am a product of my environment.
Just another American who saw too many movies.
When I see a relaxing little sandbox game about a boy on a sled, I can't help but think, what if he had a bazooka? So today I'm going to be taking part in a time-honored American tradition of taking a piece of foreign media and butchering it with a shallow and tasteless remake. This is American Line Rider. Okay, so before I can add cool guns and flamethrowers and bazookas to Line Rider, the first thing I need to do is make Line Rider. So I went ahead and made my own little Line Rider guy based on this reference, and I think it looks pretty good. Once I added in the basic line drawing tools, I had a functional little game. Okay, so now we can get to the fun part, adding in the guns. I'm gonna start with 5 different weapons. There's gonna be a pistol, a shotgun, a rifle, a flamethrower, and a bazooka. I really wanted the new weapons to fit in with Line Rider's existing art style, so it was kind of a fun art challenge trying to make all these guns using simple shapes and black lines. I feel like I say this in a lot of my videos, but I'm not a great artist or anything. Like, I don't consider myself someone who creates visual assets. But one of the cool things about game development is that you really don't have to be an amazing artist to make something that looks good. A lot of my projects are like super simple, hand-drawn art, and as long as you make everything like cohesive and make it fit together well, like that can look really good. So once I finished up these drawings, it was time to move on to every developer's favorite stage of development. It's time to add the juice. If you're not already familiar with this term, in game development, the term juice refers to the way a game feels when you play it. So a juicy game usually has a lot of like feedback and responsiveness when you play it to make it feel more satisfying. And with this being a high octane action game, we want it to feel really juicy, right? We want to have power and punch and impact. So let's go ahead and add some nice juicy gunshots. All right, here we go with the first test shot. 3, 2, 1. Alright, I might have gone a little bit overboard with that one. Let's tone it back and try again. 3, 2, 1. Okay, this one is looking a lot better. I added some recoil, a little muzzle flare, some subtle screen shake, and finally this nice crisp gunshot sound, which really just brings it all together. When you manage to make a game mechanic feel really satisfying and juicy like this, it's fun to do just on its own. Even if you're just shooting targets, it's still enjoyable. I gave the same treatment to the shotgun and the rifle, and just like that, we have our 3 primary weapons. I'm gonna go ahead and make a level right now, just so you can see all this stuff in action. The software that I'm using to make this game is called Construct 3, and it's really cool for a couple of reasons. The first one is that the entire thing runs in a basic Google Chrome browser, so you don't need to download any special software, or have a nice computer to run it. And the other thing that's really cool about it is that you don't need any coding or programming knowledge to get started. It only took me a few hours to make this Line Rider project, and I made it using Construct's built-in physics engine. So if you've ever wanted to give game development a shot, there's a link in the description for a free trial. Alright, this level is looking good, let's go ahead and run it through. So just like in classic Line Rider, I have no ability to control or steer the sled, but I do have the new goal of shooting at targets as I go. You can also switch freely between your guns, so you can pick the best one for the next target. And just like that, we have our first level finished. This game is already a lot of fun to play, but it's about to get way better. I think it's finally time to add the flamethrower. Flamethrowers are actually pretty tough to get right in video games. My first attempt to make one involved a particle system, which looked good, but it didn't really fit the art style. It almost looked too realistic. And then for my next attempt, I tried to just shoot out a bunch of like physical flame objects, but that looked not right, not good, bad. It was funny, it was kind of cool, but that's not what I'm looking for. But then my third attempt was the best one. I made these kind of like cartoony fire clouds that expand and then shrink down, and when you throw a bunch of them out, it kind of does make a good fire effect. Okay, so we have our flamethrower, now we just need some enemies to roast. I made this guy named Blue, and he's not the most formidable enemy I've ever made, but let's see how he holds up against the flamethrower. Okay, so he's not much of a match for a flamethrower, but maybe he'll hold up better against our final weapon, the bazooka. The bazooka is one of the most iconic pieces of military weaponry, but you might be asking, what is its application in this sledding game? Because, you know, typically bazookas are used against aircrafts, helicopters, tanks, that kind of thing, and we don't have any of that, but there is a really good reason for including it in this game. And the reason is... Alright, sorry about that, my camera just died, but let's get back to making things explode. Now that our bazooka is finished, our arsenal is totally complete. We have the 5 weapons we want, we have enemies, we have obstacles, we have objectives. I think it's time that we put everything together and make the final level of the game. So go ahead and sit back and get ready to watch the most action-packed version of Line Rider you will probably ever see. Unfortunately, I don't own any of the rights to Line Rider, so I can't release this game for other people to play. But if you really had your heart set on playing a game like this, I would just give Construct 3 a shot. Like I said, it's super easy to get into, and you can make your own game with all the features that you want to play. And at the end of the day, Line Rider really is a special and unique game just the way it is now. So with that, I think we're ready to call it good. I'll see you guys around next time. Bye. EV.